It's a really interesting point at the moment, a very important one. With the current economic recession, regeneration activity has fundamentally stopped. So now is the time, in our view, to start to maybe rethink the way that we do things, the way that we approach and deliver regeneration. It's really about using this time, meanwhile time we should call it, to start to rethink the way we do things. Particularly, we believe that we should approach regeneration by looking at 4 distinct but connected themes: regeneration, environmental sustainability, urban design, and the overarching theme that connects all of these of health, happiness and well-being. The first theme is regeneration, really the regeneration impact that projects can have. In our view, it's fairly obvious that regeneration has a much better chance of success if it contributes to the regeneration of the area surrounding it and thereby benefits from that regeneration too. What's important is to make surrounding communities feel included in the process, so that they and the communities that come to use and come to live, come to work in new regeneration projects feel connected to one another. It's very important to set regeneration projects in their context, to look way beyond the red line, to look at what makes a place tick, to look at opportunities, how you can engage with those existing communities around, create opportunities for them to be involved, not only through the consultation process, but as the area, the neighbourhood, the regeneration project develops over time. For example, we're working in Cardiff Bay on a project where there's a community that are physically and socially divorced from an area that's seen a lot of development over recent years in Cardiff Bay. And there we've now started to engage that community through a series, a process that will last over a number of years to start to give them an opportunity to contribute and shape the way things are planned in the future. We believe it's a really important time to start to think about those sort of mechanisms in Holbeck.
Holbeck is in this transient, this side of Holbeck anyway, is in this transient state of part being demolished, part being built, yes. and problem, if we're not careful, the whole community of the place could be lost in the next few years if we're not careful and make sure that we kind of do try and make efforts to kind of keep things together.
The second theme is environmental sustainability. It's ensuring that regeneration and the developments that take place are future-proofed, that their energy consumption is reduced as far as possible. But it's not just about a greenwash of designing environmentally friendly buildings. That's extremely important, clearly, in the materials that we use, the way they're constructed, the way that they use energy. It's about how those buildings are placed in a scheme, what that scheme does to help reduce other energy consumption. How can we make them less dependent on the car? How can we create a much more favourable microclimate? Can we encourage biodiversity? And can we encourage local businesses so that food miles are reduced, so that people can source locally the things that they need for everyday life? The third theme is urban design. And I think we should draw the distinction between urban design and big architecture. It's not about big iconic buildings, it's about creating places, making places for people to use, for neighbourhoods to develop and thrive. I mean, here we've got a public square that's surrounded by different uses. We've got galleries, restaurants, cafes, offices and residential all round a very small square. It makes for an intimate space that people want to use, and they'll use it all year round. It has a safe feel about it, a friendly feel to it, and urban design is about creating these sort of places, not squares like this, safe streets, human scale development rather than huge tower blocks that start to make places feel unfriendly. It's about making sure that areas are connected together. It's making sure that we make sociable spaces that people can use, and that helps to support local businesses, create the right sort of density of people, and that makes sure that these neighbourhoods continue to thrive and grow.
It's a question of whether they really want those people to remain there, or whether they will, like after the war when people moved out of the slums in Hunslet, moved up to Belle Isle, to the new council estates, up there, whether they will just move everybody out, and then you know, rebuild, and those people will never move back again, and it's pushing, you know, people further and further away from these centralised areas.
The final theme is one that really brings all the others together, and it's health, happiness and well-being. It's hard to imagine now that at one time there was a community lived around here, streets of terraced housing, local school, people working in local mills, and it's really how do we recreate that? How can we provide homes and jobs for close to people's homes, better quality housing, and greater access to housing to different tenures for different income groups. How do we create those facilities that go along with those? This is really about engaging with the surrounding communities, with providing opportunities for local businesses to flourish and to thrive, to create sociable spaces for people to meet and use, and to perhaps fix some of the problems of urban regeneration in the past in terms of the way that we've approached it, and we've developed sites and buildings to fix some of those problems of urban living. And so there are real opportunities, I think, to bring all of those cross-cutting themes together and to look at regeneration in a much wider way, to look beyond the red line, to set it all in context so that projects aren't just isolated bits. They're connected together and they create something that's far more successful.